What's up? I'm Jeff Gluck from SBNation.com. You're back on AmpUpThe88.com. We're happy to have you again. This is where you come to amp up for the race each week. And just a reminder before we get started here, there's a few things cool about the site. One is there's every day they give away a free Dale Jr. autograph item, which is really cool. And last week when Mike Davis was here, he just was saying that Junior just signed a bunch more of them. So those are there for you guys to win. There's an off-the-track video series where this week it's going to be Lance McGrew talking about the upcoming races. And TJ Major's Twitter feed, you can follow him on there. And obviously these video chats. Next week we'll have Mark Malden, who's the pit crew coach, and that'll be a week from today at 12:30 next Wednesday. But right now we have Kip Wolfmeier, who's the rear tire changer for the 88 team. Thanks for coming, Kip.
Yep, thank you.
That's Junior Nation in there, in that little box. They have some questions for you, but first I just kind of want to ask you, how did you get here? Like, how did you come up and get to where you are today?
I was very fortunate to be here. I basically started right out of high school. I got out of school in 2003 from mid-Missouri, moved to North Carolina, knew this is what I wanted to do from the time I was 10 years old, and just started at some low-budget teams, you know, worked my way up every year, and was fortunate enough to have Hendrick sign on with me in end of 2007.
So even when you were 10, you want to be on a pit, like
Yeah.
you saw it on TV and you're like, that's what I want to do?
Yeah. I actually had some friends of mine, my dad's friends actually, that were in the sport already, so I kind of had a little bit of a head start on, you know, just a regular average fan, so that helped out a lot.
All right, well, now we'll get to their questions. M. Schechter 24 is wondering, what's the first race you ever attended, and how old were you when you attended it?
NASCAR race was in Kansas, and I believe it was like 2000, and probably 2001 was a Busch race, and even then it seemed long. That was just a Busch race. So, but the first I was dirt racing since I'm probably 10 years old. Probably 8 or 10 years old. I went to our first dirt race.
Wow. Recently we've seen a lot of, like, I think just last week or a couple weeks ago, there was a couple crew members that got hit. LaKayla Gant is wondering, have you ever been hit during a pit stop or on pit road?
Luckily, I've never been hit. I had Kenny Wallace ran over my heels one time, which was close enough for me.
Wow.
But never been seriously injured, no.
So I mean, like the tire went over him?
Yeah, his left. I was changing fronts at the time, and we were already in our stall, and he was coming around us, and just nicked my heels enough to get your attention for sure.
Wow, wow. George Cox is wondering, what's it like, speaking of that, to have another car pull out of the pit like right behind you? I mean, you're right there, and it must get really close, obviously.
It does. Luckily, you know where they want to go. You know that they're not, trying to hit you. They're trying to get out of the way as well. So you kind of have an idea where they're headed, and you know how much room you have, so you can kind of, stall or do what you have to do to let them through. Obviously.
You've had a bunch of close calls, I'm guessing.
There's been a few.
Yeah.
There's been a few, yeah. But that's part of it. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Sun VGG is wondering, obviously Watkins Glen is a different setup, the way that the cars come into pit road. How much do you practice for that? Is there any differences in what you have to do? Yeah,
there's a lot. We start practicing for that race about 2 weeks in advance.
Really?
Just because everything is backwards. A lot of times, some teams will actually put their front changers and carriers on the rear of that car because it's the same footwork, same hose work as it would be in a normal situation. We don't do that here, just to kind of keep everything on the same page, but it's definitely backwards for everybody. Even it affects the jack man the most in his footwork, and it's actually basically making him left-handed.
Wow. So is that a pain for you guys? I mean, do you see the Watkins Glen race coming up on the schedule and you're like, oh, jeez?
It's not really. It's not. It's actually kind of fun because it's something different. It's not the same old thing every week. So it's kind of fun, exciting, and you don't practice it very much. So it's fun to try to gain time in areas because it's something totally different.
Mm-hmm. Race Fan 12 is wondering, is there any sort of rivalry between the 4 different crews here at HMS?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
It's all pretty. It's petty though. It's nothing serious. You know, we actually give each other a hard time to try to make ourselves better and be more competitive with what we do.
So, who's the best?
88, of course.
Okay. Kristen Bene is wondering, does pit practice at night help for night races, or is there any sort of difference?
If Malden's watching this, it makes all the difference in the world.
Okay.
But no, if Kristen wants to know, we have lights on our helmets, and we actually have ample amount of light at night races, and we did practice early in the morning for that race, which is funny. But so yeah, we do whatever it takes.
But you don't necessarily think there's a difference?
No.
Yeah. George Cox is wondering, how do you rate the over-the-wall pit crew's performance so far this season? I guess you're talking about for the 88.
Very well. I think we have a very good group of guys. Everybody, is in sync together. We've been, putting off some pretty good performances on the weekends, and obviously you'll have a few hiccups here and there, but as an overall, I think our crew chiefs and coaches are really satisfied with what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's wondering, what time do you guys have to get at the tracks, especially on race day? Like, when do you show up?
Obviously, our normal race day Sundays, race starts 1 o'clock. We'll get there at 7 o'clock in the morning. My deal's a little bit different. I go into early crew, so my schedule's a little bit different from a normal race day, crew members. But it's usually a good 5-6 hours before the race starts.
So what's your typical day like during the week? Like, what's today like?
Today we are finishing up our Michigan cars, getting them on the truck, getting everything loaded up, ready so they can get out here, give them time to our hauler drivers to get there on time. Also, next week's going to be a little busy week for us because Sonoma's coming up, and the trucks will actually be coming back here to Charlotte before they go to Sonoma. So we'll have like a one-day turnaround next Monday. So it's trying to get prepared for that and make it as easy as it can be.
Linda Madras Crow is wondering, what is the best part of your job and what's the worst part of your job?
The best part is probably having good finishes and winning, obviously, because it makes everybody's happy. Sponsors are happy, or crew chiefs, everybody's from across the boards. So it feels good to do a good job and have a good finish and paying out. And obviously, the worst part is just the opposite. Not either wrecking cars or gives these guys in the shop more work. Obviously with tearing up race cars and obviously not getting the finish and the points and in the end not making the chase. So it's the flip side of both.
Let's see. Mary Allworth wants to know, do you ever see yourself moving into a crew chief position a la Chad Knaus?
Probably not. Those guys are really good at what they do, really advanced, and have engineering degrees and have come. They've been in the sport long enough to where they've watched how things evolve and stuff like that. Whereas I just come in the sport a few years ago, and so I'm still really green at this. So crew chief position, I doubt it, but. It'd be interesting. Well,
Kristen Bene again is wanting to know. So what do you picture yourself doing eventually besides changing tires? Like, once your career's over in that department, what's the next step, or how do you evolve from there?
I don't know. Kristen asks really good questions. Obviously, you'd like to move up, here, and car chief is about as high as I could probably go for my education and stuff like that. So probably a car chief. I don't know. That's is about as high as ranking. I think is without going to school and putting your time in before you get to this position is where that's going to take you.
So what would you recommend? I mean, let's say somebody wants to get where you are. How do they start, or how do they go about doing that?
I probably didn't. I didn't do the textbook road to get to where I am. I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. But there's a lot of series that you can get involved in, as far as Hooters Pro Cup or a late model series or ARCA and Busch series. That it's a lot easier to get your foot in the door and then work your way up from there, as opposed to just jumping right into Hendrick Motorsports or any Elite Cup team.
Mm-hmm. Dale Jr. Fan 50 would like to know, how do you train in the off season, and how do you train during the week of a race?
Where it fell down, didn't it?
Oh.
Hold on, I lost my mic.
It's just me talking? Is that all you guys can hear right now? I can tell you about pit crew. Yeah. Let's see. I'll answer how I train during the week of a race. First, I warm up my fingers to type, warm up my computer. Let's see, what else do I do? Maybe you should just answer. I don't have a good answer for me.
We train 2 days a week. 2 to 3 days a week during the season. Off season is 5 days a week. A lot of lifting, a lot of cardio, just to kind of keep to where you don't want to, when you're in the off season, you just don't want to quit cold turkey and then come back in Daytona and expect to be where you left off. So they expect a lot of us and to keep us in good shape, and so we don't ever fall behind for the next season.
Mm-hmm. Caspian 10 wants to know, what are your responsibilities in the 5 and 88 shop? What do you have to do?
I am a road guy, early crew guy for the 5 car, Mark Martin, and then obviously he's coming back here, getting our cars prepared as best we can to get to the racetrack on Fridays. And then at the racetrack, I'm called an underneath guy. Basically, make sure nothing falls off underneath the car, housings and truck arms and all that good stuff. So everybody kind of has their own little position. Front end mechanics, interior guys, and everybody kind of has a consolidated job, so nothing gets overlooked.
So you're obviously under the car a lot, looking. I mean, you just check after every practice or every practice run, or?
Yeah, we basically have we'll have a practice Friday, where we're on a normal weekend we'll do qualifying runs all week, and then have our all day Friday, qualify Friday night. Switch all of our qualifying package over to a race package for Saturday happy hour. After happy hour is over with on Saturday afternoon, we'll put the car up on stands and basically just go over with a fine-tooth comb every nut and bolt, everything on that car, and safety check it and make sure it's ready for 500 miles or whatever we'll have on Sunday.
All right, we have a confession from Kristen Bene here. She says, "Hi, Kip. We really miss you. Love your sister."
Love you too.
Let's see. Rich Bohr would like to know, who was your favorite driver growing up?
This is probably not the right thing to say, but I was a big dirt racer growing up. I didn't really get into NASCAR a whole lot. Probably Steve Kinzer and Scott Bloomquist were my big idols as a kid. Watching dirt racing all the time. But as far as NASCAR drivers go, I think somebody gave me a Caterpillar hat one time, so I liked Ward Burton because he talked funny.
Yeah. But I never could understand that.
That shows you how much I watched the NASCAR circuit as a kid.
So have you ever gotten to meet Steve Kinzer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, our car chief, Mike Baumgardner, and him are really good friends. They worked together on Bernstein's deal, like in the mid-90s.
Oh, okay.
And so he was in the 26 Cup car, Quaker State car here for a while, and so he's been around the circuit for a while. But I think he's been doing this the longest, as far as outlaw racing. So I think I look up to him a lot, still being able to do it today.
Yeah. Just a reminder, guys, you're chatting live with Kip Wolfmeier. He's a rear tire changer for the 88 team. I'm Jeff Gluck from SB Nation, and this is your place to amp up for the race each week. So keep your questions coming. We got about 15 more minutes. Let's see. What should we ask next? What are the other crews that you have worked on? GC Badigan wants to know.
In 2006, or let's back up, 2005, I was on a Busch team with Jason Keller in the 35 car. In 06, I went with into Roush's Busch team with Todd Cleaver, and then I got moved to the 16 Busch car with Greg Biffle in 07 and did Cup in both Busch in 07, so that was kind of a crazy year. And then ended up moving to the Cup shop at the end of or the middle of 07, and then I've been here since then.
Aflac Buddy wants to know what your life on the road is like. Like, do you stay in hotels? What do you do? I mean, how do you manage that being gone so much?
It's tough. Excuse me. Not as much for me. You know, I don't have a family at home like a lot of these guys do. They have, you know, a wife and kids that are, you know, learn how to walk and playing baseball and stuff. But we are gone a lot. We're gone about 4 days a week. Stay in hotels. You know, have rental cars, drive back and forth to the racetrack every day. Come home late Sunday nights and leaving, you know, Thursday afternoons. So it is a pretty tough schedule, and there's 39, you know, races a year, so it doesn't leave a whole lot of time to be here, you know, at home with your families and stuff. So it's tough. It is rewarding. I mean, you get to see a lot of different stuff, and you know, go different. It's not the same 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, day at the shop. You know, I mean, you get to get out and see different things, eat at different restaurants, and so I'd say that's probably the best part, you know, about it.
JP Mark 42 wants to know which tracks have the best food, or which states. Where do you like to go? And you're like, oh, I love that restaurant, or I love the food in that region.
I don't know. I guess the weird part about it is we try to do something different, you know, every place we go to. Obviously, if you go to Loudon and to you know, coast, you know, Daytona beach, place on the coast, you're gonna try for some seafood, you know, and stuff. You go to Midwest, you'll go, you know, we go to Kansas, you're gonna want to, you know, get some barbecue or a steak or something like that. So I guess whatever kind of regions you're there, and whatever's close to the hotel, a lot of times you don't want to venture too far out to hit someplace special. But
yeah. Finn Later wants to know, is moving from rear tire to front tire carrier or changer considered a promotion? What's like the higher? Is there a hierarchy? Are they equal?
There's not. I think that everything's pretty. I mean, everybody's job is really important. I mean, no one guy beside you is any better than the guy, you know, other side of you. So, I've actually had the luxury of doing both and learning both positions, which has been kind of fun. For me, 2009 was my first year changing rear tires, and so I struggled with it for a while. You know, learning a new position like that and running around the back of a car is a lot, you know, further distance than the front, and learning your footwork and stuff like that. So, is one better than the other? No, but there are a lot of differences between the two.
ERV Mary would like to know, is there any driver that you guys don't like to pit near? Maybe it's a little too close, or?
Oh, there's a few that'll. There's a few that you want to keep an eye on. I won't say any names, but there are some drivers where, you know, they may not be out to hurt anyone, but they'll get close enough to scare you to try to get that competitive edge against you. You know, if they're going to try to beat you out, you know, they might you know, lean on you a little bit or get close to you just to kind of make you check up, make you have a little, you know, a little fumble in your pit stop so they can, you know, gain some positions on you.
Let's see. We got some Hendrick related questions here from people you may know.
Probably.
So let's start with Doug Dukart. He says, "Do you think Missouri should stay in the Big 12 or switch to the Big 10?"
I think it's better to be a small fish in a big pond. I think you know, they may have a little better shot at a better season, you know, in the Big 10, but I'm more of a type of person who wants to go for a challenge, you know.
Yeah. gonna be interesting that the whole league's gonna fall apart, I guess, if they in Nebraska leave, right?
Yeah, it will be.
Lance McGrew wants to know, how do you see through the dark tint of your Hummer windows?
It's not as easy to see out of his. It's a lot harder to see out of his than it is mine.
Does he have the same car?
No.
Oh.
But he has a blacked out Denali pickup, which is really fancy. His crew chief drives nice vehicles.
Right.
And you know, if you can write him back, tell him he shouldn't text while he drives either.
Oh, really? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Busted, Lance McGrew.
Texting is dying. Remember that.
Well, he has another one here. It says, do you recommend a 10-2 driving style? What's that about?
He drives so slow down the road that you can actually watch his hands. Like, he drives.
Oh,
like
he's
this.
one of these people?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's all up on
Like
the
a
wheel,
grandma.
like seat forward, tilt up. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we need to get, like, if we can get Richard to get him a knob off his forklift, I think he could do better with that.
I don't know who Spring Break 98 is, but they want to know if they can come to your Halloween party.
I'm going to say is our engineer,
Okay.
Chris Heroy.
You have good Halloween parties?
We try. We
Yeah.
try to, yeah. We try to break up the season a little bit there around the chase, you know?
Yeah.
Just relieve a little bit of tension.
Costumes or?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah?
They're required.
What's your best costume that you've seen that you can say?
Yeah, exactly. He showed up as a hot dog one year, which is
Really?
pretty funny. Man, there's a lot. Car chief was a shot. He was a Mexican shot dancer or something one time. Shot guy's been of babies. Oh man. Yeah, we better stop.
Sounds
there.
wild. All right. Let's see. Okay, Dale Jr. fan wants to know if you have a pit crew mishap, if there's some mistake, how do you psych yourself up for the next stop? Like, how do you recover or move on?
That's a really good question, because a lot of people struggle with that. My personal opinion is to and Lance is, you know, it preaches this to us too, is that it's over. You know, I mean, if you know, you put it behind you, you know what you're doing. You've done this, you know, a million times. You know, you can't keep going forward on something that happened, you know, already. So just keep going forward, do what you know how to do, and fix it, you know, and go on, and not dread over that kind of thing. So, and that's really important too, because you can have a bad day. I mean, you had a bad stop on pit road, and you think about that bad stop all day, you'll never have another good one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's pretty important to move forward after something like that.
Yeah. ERV Mary, as a follow-up from something you said earlier, she says, so do you work with the 5 until the race itself, or do you just work on the 5 at the shop, or when do you go over from one to the other?
Monday through Saturday, or actually Monday through when the flag drops during the start of the race, I'm on the 5 car. The only time I'm on the 88 is going over the wall. So.
Wow, interesting. Is that weird? I mean, from the dynamic to go from one to the other?
It was. I mean, it's different to start, but I think there's advantages to it. You know, working with Mark all weekend. You know, learning how he likes his cars, and things that he picks up, and then and then going Sundays and learn how Dale Jr. Listen to his comments and trying to put the two together and seeing what they like or what they don't like, and that's kind of interesting part of it. The only thing that is a disadvantage is you work on one car all week, and then having to come back, when we come back to the shop here, asking my 5 guys, well, like, well, did he like this change that we made during the race, or how did that work out? I don't ever get to see the ending result, so that's the only downfall of that. But it is kind of cool to work with 2 drivers. I mean, not a lot of people get to do that. So
yeah. Dale Jr. fan forever is wondering how much you really get to interact with Dale Jr. Obviously, if you're only there one day a week, and he's basically in the car by the time you get there. Like, do you ever talk to him or anything? Not
really. I mean, you say hey here, walking by there or whatever, and every so often, we'll try to get all the guys together and go do something. But he's really busy. I mean, he's got a lot of commercial shoots and appearances and stuff going on during the week. I mean, he did come in the shop yesterday, which is cool, but rarely do we see any of the drivers very much, because I'm sure they got a really busy schedule as well.
Yeah. So somebody wants to know: was the team more happy with the run or mad about the finish at Pocono?
It was bittersweet. We had a really good car and we had really good pit stops, and so it was, obviously we didn't get to finish that that deserved, but it was kind of a relief to know we had fast race cars and we got good pit stops too. I mean, we can't really do anything about getting wrecked. I mean, so our part, we know we're doing a good job, and we know that everything was right. So. And that's part of racing. You just kind of got to take what you can get as far as your finish.
Yeah. Beckbeat555 wants to know, if you could switch to another job on the crew for one race, what would it be?
Does driving count?
Yeah, you can do that.
That'd be fun. I'd try that. Yeah.
Okay. Have you done much driving?
No, I did. I raced dirt cars in Missouri until I moved here, but nothing on asphalt or professional. We just run dirt modifieds.
Yeah.
Out there.
Do you do any iRacing?
No.
You haven't gotten that whole craze?
No, I feel if I got involved, I'd get attached, and I don't.
Yeah.
No, I can't do it. I've never. The last Nintendo, the last video game I've had was the original Nintendo, like
really?
Duck Hunt.
Like with Duck Hunt? Yeah.
That's the last one.
That is old school.
Put it.
Yeah. So A Parrot 1994 wants to know, what do you do to relax and have fun?
I have. I don't know if it's really relaxing, because it's becoming more of a project. I'm in the works of building a 38 Ford Rat Rod pickup.
Wow.
So
38.
Yeah, it's old bucket of rust. I mean, it's rusted, but it's kind of fun, just to work on something, and being in this sport, you're all the time fabricating stuff and using stuff that you learned here at the shop, and and applying it to something at home that's just kind of a recreational piece is kind of cool. But we go out on Lake Norman every once in a while, just a few minutes north of Charlotte here, and kind of relaxing out on the boat there, on the days off that are nice, and that's about it. We don't really have a whole lot of time to leisurely time to get involved in anything, but yeah, that's the nature of the sport.
Yeah. Well, we got time for a couple more questions, guys. So let's see. Dale Jr. Fan 50 is wondering, if you weren't working in NASCAR, what would you be doing?
I don't know if I would like to be doing this or not, but I have like this weird love for log cabins. It's a lot of work. Them guys really work hard cutting logging crews and stuff, but I think that'd be interesting to do. If I wasn't doing that, I'd probably have a cattle farm. I'd probably move back to mid-Missouri, and I think live a little easier life, a little less stressed life, having a few cows and doing the farming thing.
Dances with Cat. Dances with Cat is somebody that asks a question every single week on here, and we haven't gotten to one of her questions yet, so we'll end with her.
Get to that.
Yeah. What is the very best part of working at Hendrick Motorsports?
Probably the people. I've never worked anywhere where, Mr. Hendrick has put together a group of guys and a big group of people that, when they interviewed me here, they're like, well, we're going to have you come in and try out changing tires. And like, well, that's good. And I was like, okay. So I was kind of waiting for a response. They're like, well, we want you to come in and talk to us. Well, what do they want to talk about? They're like, well, we know you can do what we want you to do, but we just kind of want to figure out what kind of person you are. And I think they've done that with everybody that works here, and in the end result, everybody that's here wants to be here. Nobody, is fighting each other for anything. I mean, everybody wants to be here, wants to do a good job, work together. And I think that's the coolest part about Hendrick Motorsports is the people that he has surrounded himself with. are just a really elite group, and they all pull on the same side of the rope, and it shows.
Well, one of those people will be here next week, Mark Malden. Should we ask him any advice of questions to ask him? Can we get him on anything?
I'll have to come up with something.
Okay, let us know, or you can log in and
I know I do that. Get him on the spot.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up again, for Junior Nation, for all the great questions. Thank you, Kip, for coming.
Thank you.
Be sure to come back next week to ampupthe88.com, where you amp up for the race every week. Wednesday, just a week from today at 12:30, Mark Malden, who's the pit crew coach, will be here. So make sure to come for that, so we have some good questions. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.